What's happening?
What's happening, Hope? I'm Glenn Young alongside Hal Nunn, and we are back. We're going to flip back to the news segment. And first of all and foremost, our guest today, I'm glad that he could be with us, Jeremy Walsh and his wife, Shay. And as you can see, this is the Navy veteran that was declared dead by the VA. He is very much alive. I'm touching him, I'm feeling him now. He shook his hand. This is something that's personal to me. It's personal to you, Hal, because we are both veterans.
And partially disabled.
And
Probably a little bit more than partially. It would be all right.
Right there.
Jeremy,
That way.
just give us a little background on the story, where we are now, and I want to keep this story fresh because, you know, we're a week out or so from Memorial Day, and it's a personal story.
Well, it started apparently with Shay getting a letter in the mail dated April 16, 2015. We at the Defense Finance and Accounting Service in Cleveland Center are sincerely sorry to learn about the death of your husband. When you got that letter, what did you think?
I looked at him and go, is there something you're not telling me? And I poked him and I said, man, you're just a zombie.
You thought maybe he was holding a big secret back.
Zombie apocalypse is happening. I'm glad that you can manage a laugh about it.
Now, I'm sure, you know, there has been some struggles because we did see the report from Gilbert Bays of WRAL.
Give them credit, yeah.
Give them credit, and you ran across somebody today and y'all were able to connect.
Jim here in the restaurant said, you know, we were just talking about that story, his story, and Jim said, well, Glenn, he's across the street. I said, you're kidding. And then I said, well, can you get him on? And Jeremy, thanks for coming on.
Yes, sir.
So when you got that letter, what you asked him about it. What happened? What transpired as a cause of this, or what was the action caused by this letter?
Nobody knows. We keep on getting details that it was an error, and then they said no, it was a clerk at the VA. They got a veteran, and what they do is they type in socials, and they're supposed to verify that social matches what they have of the veteran who's deceased, and they didn't do it.
So there was a step that was missed. But when they missed that step, what happened to you in your circumstances?
Everything stopped.
Like what?
Pay stopped, disability stopped. Bank of America, which is a great bank, along with Navy Federal. I love them both. Everything stopped.
3 different federal agencies involved, so Social Security, VA benefits, and then DFAS, the military thing.
And that all stopped. And so the letter was April 16th. When did you realize that your pay and benefits stopped?
That day.
That day.
Wow.
I called that day, and it was a Friday.
No, it
was a Saturday when we got it. They didn't open until Monday. So the original letter we got from the VA debt collection in St. Paul, Minnesota, said, hey, you need to send this back. I saw a call and said, hey, no, I don't, because I'm still alive.
They want their money.
They want their money. Wow. I told them I'm not sending it back.
You've been overpaid.
And they actually took it back.
Wow.
And
so it didn't
insult to injury. Without even checking.
Without checking,
even
without calling.
Physical, send somebody out to the house, verify this guy.
Couldn't talk to his spouse.
They didn't contact me, which is, I'm next to kin. They didn't contact his family members in Ohio. They didn't do anything.
Yeah, because when you do
is near Ben Harrison.
Well, when you do your ID card, especially, you know, a veteran, and I'm assuming you're retired or disabled.
Yes, I am retired.
And so therefore, when you're doing your paperwork, you have to put somebody down as a next of kin, and you have to put somebody down to take charge of your situation. So it's not like they didn't know who to call.
And the day we got this was the 16th of April because you were at your voc rehab appointment on Fort Bragg.
What's ironic here is I had to show my ID at voc rehab. how can I be dead if I'm 3 feet away from you?
And they
Well-
scanned his military ID card.
Scanned it.
I have, but so they did do the meter
Yes.
thing. I was getting ready to say, I went
Yeah,
through
when they
voc
swipe,
rehab
yeah.
too, but all I did was drive in, they check your ID and they didn't do like you're doing on the, you mean going through the gate?
No,
No,
at the
actually-
center, at the
Center.
soldier center.
Yeah. Well, even going through the gate, nowadays the
You have to
MPs, they swipe your card.
Right.
So that could have proven right there that you were still alive, or at least your card was
I
still
was
around.
yeah.
I was driving, so I used my VA,
Okay.
my ID card. But when we got up to voc rehab, they needed his ID card, and they
That's what-
scanned it right then and there.
And it worked. But what gets me, and I don't understand it, you guys can understand, follow procedure,
Yep.
follow procedure. Proper planning prevents poor performance.
Every time.
When you have to follow a set of steps.
And checks and balances to see it work out.
And they need checks and balances. Well, that's what,
The
okay, so,
date that they declared him dead was March 25th.
Wow.
and they sent the letter on April 16th. So
Yes.
what about April 1st? Did your pay and everything come through normal
No.
April 1st?
No, they took it.
They took
It
it.
showed.
So you knew before the letter came? Or you knew something was up?
We figured
When they
something was
didn't
up
receive the money.
because in the bank account, it showed that it was pending, and then it was gone. It wasn't deposited, and we called the bank, and they said it was,
Returned.
it was never never went fully through.
And I go, why is that?
It was stopped in the middle of the transaction.
Nobody could give you an answer?
I called DFAS, and they said, you're dead. I go, no, I'm not, I'm alive.
Wow.
And at that time, she's on the phone. She goes, we gotta go to Fort Bragg anyhow. Let's go.
Yeah.
I went and talked to you, Diane Paris. You're out there. Love you. You
She's the
did.
VA.
She's
app-
the VA
God
advocate,
bless her.
and she went above and beyond. She called everyone from the local office in the city, the county. She called Winston-Salem. She called DC.
Wow.
I've never had so much support, and I hate to say this, even from my Navy family, except the SEAL team, to go above and beyond like she did.
Wow.
We got the VA taken care of about a week after she started calling and making things happen.
Wow.
So what was the time frame? They pronounced him dead on March 25th,
Yeah, we
and
didn't
then when did
realize-
everything kick back in?
We didn't know he was dead. We didn't know he was declared
Right.
dead because we were in West Virginia at my papa's funeral.
And this letter's sitting in the box.
Right.
Yes.
So
and,
March 25th, letter April 16th, and when was the first day you were told everything was back online?
But that's just
Everything's
it.
not back online.
Everything's
is
not back.
not back on.
So May 1st has come, pay has still not been restored, and your benefits have not been restored.
We got his VA pay,
Okay.
which was last Friday when we got his VA pay.
Your disability.
The disability is taken care of. But for some reason, Social Security, and I know they're busy, I know they have so many things going on, but when I have a call into Social Security and they tell me I have to have notarization I'm alive, I can touch you. You can hear me, you can see me, you can do what you want, I'm alive. We need notarization.
We couldn't even show up in Social Security office without the notarized letter stating that he was alive.
Man.
And that caused us to drive back from Lumberton, Fort Bragg.
Wow.
Diane reassured me everything was good. I called her every hour. She called me and said, we're working it. Go, happy Friday. Friday morning, I wake up, I check it, it's there.
Good deal.
Now I'm calling DFAS.
Your military pays.
The military pay. I notarized the form, I faxed it to DFAS. They said they didn't get it.
We called Diane Paris.
Diane Paris,
She told us to come back up and she'll refax it for us. She
And-
refaxed it.
So now we're in a wait mode.
Now they got that one, and then, but in the process, we also contacted Congressman Ken Goodman.
Okay.
and Tom Tillis.
Senator Tom Tillis. Tom Tillis's office is working with us.
Good.
They sent actually a congregational letter to DFAS to reinstate his pay ASAP, and they are
Wow.
still dragging their feet. They said that it could be the end of the month to July before we get his retirement pay.
Well, we have some experience with a veteran in Hoke County. Actually, the baseball coach, Mike Ray, I don't know if you know about him. He has Lou Gehrig's ALS.
Right.
And he's still coaching and teaching and in a chair. He's in one of the motorized chairs. He waited almost 17 months for adaptive housing so he could get in and out of his house. And there's too much of a delay in the VA, and this has been one of the big problems, and also the Social Security Benefits Office. I just can't believe it. I just wish you could fix it right away.
You hate to take it. It's upsetting, period, because we're all veterans.
Right.
Yeah, we
All
are.
3 of my children are veterans.
I'm a veteran.
One of my sons, he's in the Navy out in California, and it reeks, me being a human resources specialist for 20 years in the military, this reeks of administrative error.
Somebody made a mistake.
And we just can't make those errors.
And now there's a story out in Seattle
Washington
about an Army vet that fell and broke his foot. He drove to Seattle Puget Sound VA campus hospital, and he called for help
to get from his truck.
to get from the vehicle inside. They said, call 911, and hung up on him.
Oh,
Why are our veterans, those of us who've been to war, jumped out of planes? I fast roped out of helicopters.
man. Oh, man.
I've worked with
Broken
special
back.
forces.
Old Cicely dropped one right here.
I've done everything my country's asked me to do, and then some. And there's others doing
There's
it.
2 other veterans out there in the state of North Carolina that's going through
In
the
the
same
same
thing.
situation.
So a total
Yeah,
of
they
3
went through.
they've
Went
gone
through.
through.
Yeah.
One guy was in Rocky Mount.
In January.
In January.
And the other one was out of Raleigh
Out of
at
Raleigh.
the beginning of March.
Why is this happening?
I
What
actually-
happened?
I actually sat down and did a list of steps to take to help other veterans.
Wow.
If this ever happens to other veterans, I have
What they can do.
a procedure to follow.
Exactly.
And everybody thinks it's funny, but number one is you need to go get a notarized letter stating that you're alive.
You're alive. Exactly.
And then you've got to take that to your banks.
And 2
Yeah,
forms of
and keep it on
ID.
And the Social Security Office.
I mean,
Yes.
And the
This
deer,
was
probably
a-
deers, too.
And 2 photo IDs, and one of them, they can't be, the DD-214 can't be a birth certificate or social security ID,
Wow.
or social security card. It has to be a government pictured ID card. That
so it
you
has to be your
go-
government ID card.
Right.
Not driver's license.
It has
Well,
to be
and it has to have a picture.
Has to be
Picture
a
ID.
state seal or the,
Okay,
or the
I'm
country.
we had to go back to Lumberton Social Security office because they did, when we were there on Monday, they did give us a letter stating that he was alive, so we had to go back. And our banker, Daryl Croker at the Bank of America up on Cumberland Road in Hope Mills, he said just email it to me and he will get it taken care of.
Wow.
And
And it-
it's and trying.
And I mean, your kids go to Rockfish
Yeah.
Christian
Right
Academy.
across the street.
Right.
You couldn't pay your bills. You couldn't
No.
pay your tuition.
No.
And has there been some people to kind of come together and help you out a little bit?
Well, we
There-
live with my mom and my stepdad.
Daryl and Irma, you do not know how much I love you and appreciate. But this is ludicrous to happen to anyone, let alone a veteran who's done everything. And thank God for faith and family, because without those 2 things, you've got nothing in this world. To explain to my son, who's awesome, 5-year-old, I love you to death, Randall. You are definitely my mini-me, I love you. But when to look at him and tell him what's going on, I said, Daddy, can't you fix that? I go, no, son, I can't. Who can?
The government.
God? He goes, okay.
That's true.
My daughter, Sabrina, 13, I love you. My God, you've grown up so fast in front of me. You said, oh, Jer, God's hands, leave it there. And that's it.
Well, it's good to have a family that's together like that has that kind of faith. And I think that's a good time to say, you have anything else for
I'm
me?
just so thankful you came on.
Thank you,
We
sir.
wanted you to come on to keep this story fresh. I was interested to know what was going on.
Right.
Because I'm sitting there watching the news and I'm
happened to you. It could happen to
getting
me.
livid watching you on TV at WRL, the news story, and
And
saying,
it's been
how can
picked
this
up.
happen?
It's been picked up by Stars and
Yeah.
Stripes magazine.
So,
Well,
I want-
we need
military ID.
CNN, Fox
Yes, I'm so
News,
thankful you
all
came
these
on. I
other
wanted to
channels
keep the
get
story
involved.
fresh. and to note the status
Ridiculous.
that not everything is still fixed. You're still waiting on your military pay. And I'm gonna check in with you, and even you wanna come back on,
Right.
Jeremy, glad to have you.
Thank you, brother.
You and Shay, and keep us know, let us know what's going on. Is there anything you need? Is there anything we can do?
Is there any, just gonna go out on the internet, is there some people
Anything that
saying
we can do?
that we can help
What we
you
need
with?
to do is make sure all the veterans know this story because it can happen and try to get it out to everybody we can. I forwarded it to Fox News already today and I'm still waiting on a response back from them.
And there's a saying that we had at SEAL team. It's not that it can happen, it will. And if you don't follow procedures, things are gonna happen. I don't want anyone to get fired, but I want someone to be held accountable.
They got to be.
They
I
gotta
mean, they get fired, they get fired. But someone has to be accountable.
Somebody's
To
accountable.
fix this, obviously, it's a systemic problem that needs to
Right.
get fixed.
If it's happened to one or
Immediately.
two more
They'll be in the
vets, it's
Fayetteville
just,
tomorrow.
Well, I'm definitely gonna put it all over social media, everywhere I can put it.
I'm gonna
Al's
share it.
gonna talk about it in the Hope News Journal. So again, thank you for coming on. That's gonna do it for this week.
Thank
Yep,
you,
we're
teammate.
done.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Take
we're
care.
out of here.
God bless.
Steak spaghetti time.
I'm Glenn. He's Hal. We'll see you next week.